Do you see artificial intelligence sort of bring that level playing field in terms of imparting high quality education to students?
AI has totally disrupted the education space. At the same time, we can't say that traditional teachers, can be replaced very easily.
What do you want OpenAI to do in India specifically?
So I would say the
Hello everyone, welcome to day 2 of MLDS. Joined with me is Arsh Goyal, an engineer and a very popular content creator in the AI space. Welcome to MLDS, Arsh. How does it feel to be a part of a community of so many developers, engineers, and Gen AI enthusiasts?
First of all, thank you so much for having me here. I really love the energy of folks around. I can see a lot of young crowd who is looking forward to learn, and I could at the same time I could see people who have, let's say, 10 or 15 years of experience who are sharing their wisdom. So it's kind of a mix of both. Data scientists, AI engineers, prompt engineers, and everyone is excited to learn about the space. So that brings me here. So yeah, super excited to be here.
Right, I'm so glad about that. So let's get one thing out of the way, right? This is a question I asked another guest yesterday too.
Okay.
So Sam Altman is in India.
Yeah.
So obviously, there's not a lot that's being discussed as to how the company is going to partner with the country or the government. But what do you expect? What do you want OpenAI to do in India specifically?
So I would say the youth potential of India is big, right? So we have not been able to put that potential actually to our interest. So how can we maybe collaborate in terms of educating more folks, in terms of innovating new projects, or getting in that AI workforce from India that can build for the entire world? So I think focusing upon the youth potential of India, because India is the country with the most youngest population, right? So I think that's something that we can focus on, or AI, OpenAI should collaborate in India in some way or another, so that we have that workforce.
Right. So we've come quite far in terms of AI agents, this that. So I want to take a few steps back and ask you, why did you choose to be a software developer?
So it was very accidental, and COVID made me a
Oh,
content creator, is what I would say. I was doing my software engineering at NIT Jalandhar, and everything was going fine. And one single day, we got to know that we were to be sent home, and we were at home for close to 1.5 years due to COVID and lockdown. So I was very keen on speaking at public events when I was in college, but at home I didn't get that chance of speaking in public. So I thought of, let's go ahead and put a video on YouTube. Let's say even if a 50 or 100 people watch it, I am okay with it, right? So I participated in some hackathon, and that hackathon gave me some prize money, and I created a video of how to participate in hackathons and win prize money. That video pumped up, right? And then I saw the impact that was the actual need, and people wanted to know how things work, and there's a lot of gap between tier 2 tier 3 colleges and tier 1 colleges, and how we can bridge that gap. So the major intent of creating those videos was for the crowd who was never mentored, who didn't have good mentors, who didn't have that awareness. So I created the videos keeping that in mind, and that's how this journey started. And it started with YouTube, LinkedIn, now it's Instagram. So all three platforms have been creating content from the past 2-3 years.
right. So a large part of the engineering crowd today are based out of software.
Yeah.
So what was your specific motivation towards picking software engineering and computer science? So was there anything specific that led you on to this journey?
I would not say it was again. I was looking out for choosing a college when after my class 12th, what field to pick in, because I didn't have any computer science background before class 12th. I typically come from that physical education background, and was put to software engineering because that's the most lucrative field with the highest packages and stuff, right? I got a rank which got me into electronics and communication, not computer science actually. So I did my bachelor's of technology in electronics and communication, but from the very first year, it was clear in my mind that when I came, there's a subject in computer science known as C programming. I did that C programming, and I felt that this is something that's really interesting apart from whatever I'm doing in college. So I will continue this along with. So over the years of my college, I started a coding club in college. So the community was not great, right? So I got into coding community. I started one club where we used to teach students on every Saturday or a Sunday, be it different concepts of software engineering. So that got me more interested on the kind of impact that you can bring in somebody's life by teaching him or her to code, right? He potentially gets a placement out of it, or he potentially starts earning, and that is something that can change the entire history of his family. So the impact is something that you could see, and that brought me into software engineering.
Right. And if I'm not wrong, you from an NIT, right?
Yeah.
So obviously NIT is a very premier, comes from a very premier family of institutions in India. But coming from a college where you've had access to high quality education and now you have AI, so do you see artificial intelligence sort of bring that level playing field in terms of imparting high quality education to students? Because now it's very easy to get answers from the best research papers,
Yeah.
using AI, or get access to the best quality information. So what are your thoughts on the impact it can have on high quality technical education?
I think AI has totally disrupted the education space. You would see companies during our time. We used to find doubt. There were doubt resolution platforms like Check. The company got down by 94% because
Yeah.
everything you can access at any point of time. You face a problem in any question, any solution. You just click a photograph, post it, and you get the solution with steps, with explanation and everything. So that's even better than any teacher or any one could teach you. But again, I would say with the time, things would change. Things have already changed, and this education space is something that has a lot of potential of using AI and building more stuff. At the same time, we can't say that traditional teachers, can be replaced very easily. The kind of wisdom they bring in, the kind of human touch they bring in, the kind of emotional intelligence or empathy they bring in. So that is somehow needs to complement the coming wave of AI along with education. So I think the future looks something similar to that.
Right. So obviously in your talk you spoke about low code or no code development, right? Now it's very tempting for people to install Cursor or Replit
Yep.
or just try to start coding even without any technical background. In such kind of a situation, how much of a value would you assign to the fundamentals of coding, right? Because it takes years to learn a good programming language. So do you still feel that, look, there is Cursor, there is Vercel, and you have all of that, but people still need to know what coding means? So
Yeah. So see, for the entire software development process, coding is, I would say, 20 to 30%. Rest of the 60% is a lot of other things, be it designing, be it understanding, be it ideation, be it planning and stuff, right? So we are at a stage where coding part is handled. That's also not fully handled. There's so many other use cases that still coding AI is not able to handle. But that's just one part. But software engineering is, it's not just one particular part, but it's a mix of, let's say, 5 or 6 different things. So if at a point we have AI doing all the things together, maybe we can say yes. But as of now, for somebody to learn AI, to build on AI, to improve AI, we would need people who have those fundamentals right. So if your fundamentals are right, maybe you can develop that thinking, develop AI and improve upon the currently present AI, and use the AI that we have more efficiently to our purpose. So that's something that I would say.
right. So another question about content creation, right? On the way while we're walking from your talk to the hot seat here, you mentioned that you aren't using AI in generating reels yet, which is often a very unpopular take now. But what value are you assigning to a human in front of a camera, and where do you still AI lacks in content creation?
So again, the part we were talking about, right? Empathy and emotions. So people would want to see a lot of raw content also. It's not that every time you have a very polished content, scripted content that works out, but you would see raw content doing better on Instagram at times, right? So that's because people can see in front of you. Let's say, for example, we both are talking, right? So the kind of emotional connect that you can build with the audience is done better when you are speaking yourself. But yes, at some point of time I plan to use those AI models on how we can maybe automate the content that can be easily automated, and that's redundant, right? So that wouldn't make a difference. Something that should not have empathy but more of an information, right? So that content is easily AI automated. But for example, for the kind of content which has empathy plus emotion plus the kind of information, so that mix is still people are figuring out, and I hope some AI model comes in someday.
Right. And another interesting section of your talk was how government of India is spreading awareness about AI and pushing people to use AI.
Yeah.
And obviously a large part of our audience are Indians, if
Yeah.
not everybody. So could you summarize your learnings of how Indian government is propagating the use of AI to our audience?
See, the focus has been like seeing the trends in US or the models coming from China. So we need to push, and there's a lot of pressure on the government to bring in something in this space, right? So we saw in this recent budget as well. So a center of excellence in AI was announced with a 500 crores budget. Then a lot of seats in IITs, premier institutes where people get that education, be it in AI or any space. Number of seats to be increased there. Then India AI. So that's an initiative of government who is planning to build foundational model. So Ashwini Vaishnav, he mentioned that within 8 to 10 months we would have a foundational model coming from India, and they've already gotten prospects for review, right? So people can apply for if they can build their foundational model. So a lot of things are happening in this space, and government is doing. We were talking about different use cases like Digidan Mitra, then
Yeah.
there's Ask Disha, then there's Bhashini. So different other government organizations on how we can make lives of common people easier. For people like us, let's say software engineers, we already know the space and we already know how to use AI. But how can that farmer in his crop field can leverage AI to his ease or make his life more efficient? That's something that government needs to think on, and efforts are going in that direction.
Right. And obviously, it's all over the news that India is trying to build a foundational model or at least
Yes.
allocating some money to it.
Yep.
But we do have a lot of good open source models, right? Even if we're keeping DeepSeek aside for its security concerns, we have Meta's Llama. So, according to you, what is your opinion on using an open source model and fine tuning it for Indian use cases or
For
building a foundational model from scratch? What would you want the government to do?
again a debatable question. The people would have their own
Yeah.
perspective. Ki you can build on
Yep.
Llama. What's the need of
Yep.
proving
Yeah.
yourself in front of everyone and building your own foundational model? That would take in a lot of money, workforce, a lot of AI like potential from India. But yes, at the same time, if at all India wants to position itself better in front of the world, that an AI foundational model that's better than, let's say, a DeepSeek or OpenAI or even comparable, so that would make a lot of difference, right? And with respect to a global standpoint and the
Right.
positioning of India. So maybe from that standpoint, government is looking out at building something like that. But at the same time, yes, if you really plan to do something or really wish to build something, you have everything available. You can use anything and everything. Nobody's stopping you. A lot of open source models coming into picture. A lot of companies bringing those use cases that can make your access of AI very easy. Right? So that's something that I would say. But yeah, again, a very controversial take. Both ways, it's correct.
Right. So again, there's so much happening in AI, right? And obviously, it's showed how you can build stuff easily and you can accomplish tasks in a very time-effective fashion. So, as someone who's looking into this space, how do you sort of cut through the noise and understand how to start the learning curve? As a content creator, what would your advice be to people who are looking to leverage AI,
For
but
con-
sort of not get distracted by so much that's out there?
so specifically talking about content space or in general.
Yeah, in terms of development, like using these AI tools for anything, like how do I understand, okay, what AI tool is the best for me, because there's so much information out there.
Yeah, so I would say for any particular use case, you would find hundreds of tool at this point of time. If you go to product hunt, right, at
Yeah.
this point of time, you will find like 20, 30 new products launched, and all of them are AI products, somehow either automating software or somehow solving some use case of content creation, content generation. So these are the spaces that you would have seen, but it's more about trying and getting things on your own. We would see a lot of competitors, like for code generation we have GitHub Copilot or any other such model, but once you try it on your own, then only you will be able to figure out what is working the best for you,
Right.
right? Something might be good for me but might not be good for you. So it's all about testing it. It's all about experimentation. It's all about testing that particular product on different use cases. That will give you an understanding of what is better, how it is better. But at the same point, what is the main point is you need to keep yourself updated with how things are happening, right? So you can't turn a blind eye and you just keep on doing whatever you're doing. You need to keep yourself updated on what is happening in the industry, how. And I think AIM does a great work there.
Yep. Thank
we
you.
you we have been seeing a lot of articles in the real time, even from this MLDS summit is what we were talking about. So that's something that you need to be very very aware about. And I think yeah, it's not just about some specific learning path or learning curve for AI, but it's more about you make your own learning curve.
Right. That's interesting. Thank you so much for the fun conversation, Ash.
Thank you so
And
much.
yeah, see you around at MLDS.